Welcome to Dating Deja Vu, the podcast where we talk about your patterns, your pitfalls, and your personal growth in modern dating. I'm your host, Christina Hathaway, marriage and family therapist and dating and relationship expert. And today we're going to talk about when it's you, hi, the problem is you. Yes, you are doing things that you need to stop doing in your relationships, because if your relationships look like the same thing over and over again, it might be deja vu, but as we're going to talk about today, it also might be you. So let's figure it out together. What is up, Deja Crew? Welcome to our new followers, listeners. Coming from TikTok, we have had the best response on TikTok at Dating Deja Vu. Go check it out. I'm talking comments, saves, shares, likes. Insane. Thank you guys. It means so much to me to share this content. So go check it out if you haven't already. Also, don't forget, if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribing or following wherever you're listening or watching this podcast. And if you are feeling so kind and you're like, wow, I needed to hear that today, share this podcast with someone else or leave us a 5-star rating and review. All right. So this is a hard word we're going to talk about today, because oftentimes it's easy for us to point fingers in relationships saying like they're the problem, they are narcissistic, they're emotional, they're what is it? What do people say? They're gaslighting me, they're emotionally unavailable, they're immature, they're inconsistent. And here's the thing, sometimes they are. I mean, we talk about that shit, right? But today we're going to flip the script a bit. And why do I get to flip the script on you today? Because I did this shit. And it caused me to be in relationships that were terrible. But I continued to do the shit and I continued to get a lot of terrible. So sometimes the biggest blocks that I've learned in life in finding love isn't who we're choosing, it's how we're showing up in the relationship. Now, I know you guys already know this a bit, but we're going to really break it down to specific things. So I want you to ask yourself, do you find yourself asking, like, why don't they just understand me? I always end up with people who don't enter thing here, right? Enter whatever it is that they don't do for you. I'm not asking too much. I just wish they would change, right? Or whatever that is. If that is you, this episode is for you. Oftentimes, we think our partners should just get it. We think that they should just be mind readers and they should just understand. If they really cared about you, they'd really know you. They'd really know your wants and your needs, but they don't. I have been with my husband over 10 years and this motherfucker still has to figure it out. Okay. Now, does he know me better than most people? All people, really. He knows me better than all people. However, I still have to tell him things. For example, we have this throw. It's like a crochet throw, and it's a part of the decor, but he likes to use it. Totally fine. And he gets up. I get up first. I do some journaling, some like meditation, prayer, reading, whatever. Then he comes afterwards, puts a blanket on. And then I work out. I take my dog for a walk and I come back. He starts working because he works on East Coast time. Guess what's not folded? The freaking throw. And every day I fold the throw and I put the pillows back because I like the house to look nice. And in my brain today, I was like, why can't he fold the throw? And I'm like, did you actually ask him to fold the throw? No, I didn't, because love isn't built on psychic powers. It's built on clear communication. And when you expect people to just like read your energy, or me just expecting him to know that I want the throw folded, and of course folded a certain way, we are setting people up for failure, and we are calling it disappointment. We're calling it another X, right? Another guy that didn't get me, another guy that had mommy issues, another girl that was crazy. But really, it's your lack of communication. So we're going to go through each one of these. Number one, I will love them, accept them, whatever them, once they grow. And this one's a big one. I see this so often, right? You're constantly waiting for the person to hit their potential or the potential version that you've created about them in your head. Maybe they're more healed, they're emotionally available, maybe they're more self-aware, they make more money, they, I don't know, fix their teeth. I don't know what it is. And I want you to ask yourself, if you're waiting for the potential of someone to become, are you actually in love with them? Or are you in love with this fantasy that you created about them? We often create fantasies about who people could be for themselves and for us. Oftentimes, it's not even that person in front of you. It's the fantasy of what the partner you dreamed up in your head should be. And then you take a real live human, not the action figure, a real live human, and you try to create them to be that. And you fall in love with the potential of this fantasy that you created in your head. Now, it's great. We want people to grow, we want them to develop, but you have to ask yourself, am I accepting of the person who is in front of me? If they do not change their characters, their values, their morals, how they express themselves, am I okay with that? Can I accept that? And if the answer is no, and you are needing to be their rehab facility, their therapist, their guide, their mentor, then that is an issue. Love should include growth, but it shouldn't require growth or a total transformation in order for you to love that person. So check yourself there. Next one is one that we talked about with the four horsemen of the apocalypse, the four things that people tend to do in relationships that end up in failure. And that is, when I'm hurt, I just shut it down. You say you need space. Maybe you give the silent treatment. Maybe you're kind of passive aggressive, or you're just pretending like everything is okay. But let's be honest, this is more about control for you than it is actually about setting a healthy boundary, right? That kind of icing out, you hope that they will kind of get it and they'll want to like chase you or fix you or profusely apologize to you. And you withhold your love. That's truly what it is. You withhold love. As someone who was raised in an environment where love was withheld, it sucks. And you feel like, I'm just never going to be good enough for this person. Whereas when you can clearly communicate, I'm really frustrated right now. I need to take some space to calm myself down, because I know when I get this way, I tend to say things I don't mean. And it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with me. Right. So it could be about them too. Like, what you said was really hurtful, and I'm feeling really sad, and I need some space to like be sad so I can get that emotion out and feel it. And when I'm ready, I'd like to talk about what you said. Clear communication is so important. But when you shut down, you ice out, you withhold your love, that is incredibly toxic. Next one is you let your feelings set the weather of the relationship, meaning you are the one that they are walking on eggshells around. So if your partner's day depends on whether you're sunny or stormy, so like I said, sets the weather. If you're sunny, you're stormy, you're hailing, you're a tornado, you're a hurricane, oh God. If their day is depending on that, that is not love. That is incredibly volatile. What you're doing there is emotionally hijacking your relationship, saying that no one can be okay until I'm okay. And it's like I said, the word volatility is what this is. Again, I've been raised in an environment like this where it's don't wake the sleeping bear, don't wake up mom, don't get mom mad. Let me tell you something, you guys. This shit's so real that my father, who is, we'll just call it as it is, like slowly dying from stage 4 lung cancer, and is back home from a long hospital stay with my mother. And she doesn't want anyone really to care for him but her. But he's also blind. But when she cares for him, she gets upset. And she's, all these like passive aggressive sounds, or literally kind of like yells at him and is kind of aggressive, and it pisses me off. And the problem though is that I am the truth sayer in my family, and I'm like, why are you reacting in that way if he's asking for his meds when you are his caretaker? Question, right? What about that's frustrating to you? How can we make that easier for you? She'll get mad at me. Then he, in order to keep her okay, will say what he needs to say. And then I'm the one who ends up like shut down, right? He appeases her. And it's sad, you guys, when she hijacks the emotional situation. And even when this man is literally fighting for his life, he's still protecting her. And it is so sad to see. I have to have a very strong boundary with it. I have siblings who also are starting to create strong boundaries with it. So don't be that fucking person, please. As a 42-year-old woman who's been talking about this, it's still affecting us to this day. We thought we grew out of this phase of life. No, we did not. Okay. You are a person who said, I just have a gut feeling something is off or something is wrong here. Now, we want to listen to our intuition, right? Especially if when we have, this is the key, if we've listened to our intuition and we've been right most of the time, if we've been right most of the time, then yes, we want to listen to our intuition because we can trust ourselves. However, gut instincts, while very real, can also be anxiety in disguise, right? It can be this anxiety, fear of abandonment, belief about who you are and you're deserving of, if you deserve love or not. And it's in sheep's and wolf's clothing, right? Scrolling their social media, looking at their phone, checking their tone, over analyzing, the delay in communication. Oh, there's something wrong. They could just be busy. They could be at work. You don't know how many times I have this conversation with my clients, with my dating coach clients. I'm like, he could be at work. She could be out with her friends. She could have left her phone at home. His phone might be dead. He might be doing something else and not thinking about you. What? Especially early in dating, they're not thinking about you. Now, in a relationship, yes, there is a schedule of communication, I guess. My husband and I, we work together. We live in the same house. We have a gym in our house. We go out together. We talk all the time, but don't really talk at all, if that makes sense. Like we talk so much throughout the day that we don't have to sit and have a conversation. So when we were first dating, though, it was kind of like I knew Mark wasn't on his phone. That's not who he is. He's not texting people. He's not on social media, right? Like he's on social media. He'll watch stuff, but I call him a creeper because he just watches people's pages. He doesn't like anything, doesn't comment. He just sends me memes at this point. That's how we communicate now. He sends me like memes all the time about dogs. So, anyways, all of that kind of questioning because you had this gut feeling is all part of your trauma, your fear. Maybe you've been cheated on in the past. Maybe you come from an environment where things are emotionally unstable and you are craving that stability, and anything that looks outside of that stability, you have this fight or flight response. Truly, that's what it is. You either fight and get in an argument, or you fight or flight, excuse me, by disconnecting, dissociating, or literally leaving the relationship, right? Or worse, you think you have this intuition and you do something stupid, like go through their phone. You didn't like when your mom went through your fucking room. Why would you go through your partner's phone? Not okay. I'm sorry. You might come after me for that. Not okay. We all deserve our own privacy, even when we're in relationship, right? And if you trust somebody, you shouldn't have to go through their phone. Anyways, what's happening is your nervous system, right? Because of the unresolved trauma, is scanning for safety, right? It's not this higher self guiding you into finding the thing that's wrong. So learn the difference between, is this truly something is wrong? And let's talk about how to look at that. If something's truly wrong, you'll see a pattern over time, not just a week, not just 2 weeks, even sometimes. People go through shit. especially in adult modern dating. If you're someone who's in their mid 30s, 30s and up, people have careers, they have ailing parents that are ill, they might have kids, they might have, ex partners, like ex-wives, divorced, whatever. There's a lot going on. And sometimes we just have to say, okay, now, should we be communicating? Be like, hey, just wanted to check in. Haven't heard from you in a while. Yes. But we don't have to like go snooping for it. Okay. Next one is you keep a receipt of every mistake your partner makes. You are the person who says, unless you're perfect, you are not enough. That's literally what you're saying. You say it's fine when things are fine, but you're just keeping score. You're keeping a tally. And next time that there's tension or whatever you call it, you bring everything back up, right? You're bringing everything up like evidence in court, like, ADA Carisi from Law and Order. That is not conflict resolution. That is, again, weaponizing their imperfection, weaponizing using your memory as a weapon and saying, unless you're perfect, I am going to use your imperfections, the things you did wrong, you said wrong, and I am going to spew them back onto you in an effort to make you feel what? That's a question to ask yourself. What are you trying to do there? You're trying to say, oh, well, you're not good enough too. That's exactly what you're trying to say. You're also not good enough too because you're wounded. You're not feeling good enough because you're in conflict or something goes wrong. And you're trying to prove to them you're not good enough either because that's going to make you feel better if we're all on a level playing field. So think about that. Last one is in relationships, everyone else knows your freaking tea, but your partner. Why do we do that? Why do we go talk to our best friend and then our mom and then our sister and the lady at Starbucks and we tell them everything going in our relationship? And, or now that I'm thinking about it, you go on Instagram, you go on TikTok, you do all the things. Like I see this a lot in like the reality space where like people know about stuff before their partner, like people that people don't know more about what's going on in the relationship than the actual partner in the relationship. But if your partner is the last one to know, that's a red flag. Like, what are we doing there? Venting is valid, right? And when I say vent, there's a difference between venting and like spewing. Venting is one or two times I talk about a problem. But if every time I go out with this friend, they're talking about how much they hate their partner and all the bad things they did, and oh, look at me, I'm the victim, like that is not okay. We can vent, it's valid, but so is emotional ownership. You need to take ownership in that. And going back to number one, communicate effectively with your partner. So, are you a bad partner? Maybe. Are you toxic? Maybe. What you might most likely are is unconscious of what you're doing, right? You might be protecting yourself in a way that keeps you so hardened that no one can actually reach you, right? You keep people at arm's distance. You say you want love, but you keep them at arm's distance. You don't want to let them in, but you say you want love, you're touching it. But again, these things that you're doing are ultimately sabotaging your relationship. And ultimately, you are attracting people who either can't love you deeply as well, or who are just mirroring your own avoidance. Or there's that unicorn that was actually a healthy guy, but because he was healthy, he was probably vanilla and boring, and you didn't want that. A part of this journey is healing from your own stuff that keeps you, going through the things, withholding your love, hijacking the emotional situation. And if you're being honest with yourself, you need to say, okay, these are things that I do. I need to get to the root cause of why I do them, understand when I'm doing them in the moment, learn how to meet my need, whether that's expressing myself, managing and processing the emotion from within, going and catching the thought is a good one and reframing it, right? And through that process, you can begin to build a sense of self that is a healthy person, that is someone who is balanced in relationships. And sometimes when we go through this process and we are honest, we can admit, I want to be loved better, but first, I need to love with more responsibility. So ask yourself this: do I make it emotionally safe for someone to love me? Oof, oof, oof. Do I take up all the space and all the attention when I'm hurt? Maybe they're hurt too, but no, 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 no. You need to focus on my emotions and me. Do I trust people to show up, or am I always waiting for the other shoe to drop? And have I made vulnerability and imperfection a weapon or a bridge to create strong intimacy? You're allowed to be messy, my babes, but you also have to be responsible for that mess. So if this episode hit home for you, check out the show notes below. We'll set up a clarity call. Let's talk about it. I am a dating coach and I do one-to-one coaching, and I'm thinking about doing a little bit group situation. Haven't decided what that will look like, but stay tuned for that. Like I said in the intro, we love to be shared, liked, followed, subscribed, and reviewed with 5 stars. So if you haven't done that already, please do. And just remember, it might be deja vu, babe, but it also might be you. Talk to you later.